A new poll indicates that Vice President Kamala Harris has taken a lead over former President Donald Trump, a lead that's greater than the margin of error. This could signal a significant shift in the dynamics of this highly contested election. According to the recent polls, Kamala Harris is leading Donald Trump by 6 percentage points, with the numbers standing at 52% to 46% among likely voters. This is particularly noteworthy as it marks only the second major poll in this election cycle where Harris's lead is outside the margin of error, which typically hovers around 3 to 4 percentage points. But what does this mean for both candidates? Well, Harris's performance during their recent debates appears to have resonated with voters, with 67% rating her performance positively compared to just 40% for Trump. This suggests that her message is gaining traction, especially among key demographics like women and younger voters. As we dissect these numbers, it's crucial to focus on swing states, those battlegrounds that can tip the scales in favor of one candidate or another. States like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin are pivotal in determining who occupies the Oval Office come January 2025. In Pennsylvania alone, Harris's lead could be a game changer. If she can hold on to this advantage, it may very well secure her victory in a state that has historically been a bellwether for presidential elections. So, how does this polling data affect you? If you're a voter in Pennsylvania or any battleground state, your voice is crucial. With just over 6 weeks until Election Day on November 5th, your vote could be the deciding factor in this tight race. If you're wondering how these polls translate into real-world implications, consider this. Many voters are prioritizing issues like the economy and threats to democracy. In Pennsylvania, for example, over half of those surveyed cited the economy as their top concern. So, as you evaluate your voting options, think about which candidate aligns best with your values on these critical issues. Speaking of your vote being crucial, voter turnout will play an enormous role in this election cycle. Historically, higher turnout rates favor Democrats, while lower turnout tends to benefit Republicans. This means that if Harris can mobilize young voters and minorities, groups that often lean Democratic, she could solidify her lead even further. But let's not forget about Trump's base. He has an incredibly loyal following that is motivated by his policies and rhetoric. They are expected to turn out in large numbers as well. So how do you think these dynamics will play out? Will younger voters show up at the polls in droves for Harris? Or will Trump's base prove too formidable? Now let's take a step back and analyze what's happening in the broader context. The political landscape remains incredibly volatile. While Harris has gained some ground, Trump still holds substantial support among his base. In fact, other polls indicate that he remains competitive in various swing states like Georgia and Florida, where he either leads or is tied with Harris within the margin of error. What's fascinating here is how historical trends play into current polling. For instance, back in 2016, polls showed Hillary Clinton leading Trump by similar margins, only for him to win key states by razor-thin margins. This serves as a reminder that while polls provide valuable insights, they are not definitive predictors of election outcomes. As we look ahead, both candidates will likely adjust their strategies based on these polling results. For Harris, maintaining momentum will be key. She may focus on grassroots campaigning and engage more directly with voters through town halls and community events. On the other hand, Trump may double down on his messaging around economic recovery and national security, issues that resonate strongly with his supporters. Expect him to ramp up rallies in critical states where he needs to regain lost ground. Digging deeper into voter sentiments reveals some intriguing insights. A recent survey by Franklin and Marshall College found that while Harris leads Trump by 3 points in Pennsylvania, many voters still view her as too liberal compared to Trump's more conservative stance. This highlights a potential challenge for her campaign as she seeks to broaden her appeal beyond her base. Moreover, issues like inflation and economic stability are dominating discussions among voters. According to various surveys, these factors are critical in shaping voter preferences as we approach the election. As such, candidates will need to effectively communicate their plans to address these pressing concerns if they hope to sway undecided voters. Let's not overlook another critical aspect: the role of social media in shaping public perception during this election cycle. Both candidates have massive followings on platforms like Twitter and Instagram, which they use to connect directly with their supporters and disseminate their messages quickly. However, social media can also be a double-edged sword. Misinformation spreads just as rapidly as facts do. As voters become savvier about navigating online information sources, how do you think social media will influence your decision-making process? Will you rely more on traditional news outlets or social media for updates? Now that we've laid out the facts and figures, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Kamala Harris's lead over Donald Trump? Do you believe she can maintain this momentum leading up to Election Day? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And speaking of comments, do you feel like these polls reflect your views? Or do you think they miss the mark entirely? Your perspective matters. As we discuss polling data and voter sentiments, let's not forget how crucial civic engagement is during an election year. Whether it's discussing issues with friends or volunteering for a campaign, every little bit counts. Have you considered getting involved? Whether it's canvassing or simply sharing information online about voting rights or registration deadlines, your efforts can make a difference. In our upcoming videos, we'll delve deeper into how candidates are strategizing their campaigns based on these polling results. We'll also be analyzing how social media plays a role in shaping public perception during this election cycle. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. We'll also explore what key issues are resonating most with voters across different demographics. So stay tuned for insights that might just inform your own voting decisions. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all things politics. In our upcoming videos, we'll delve deeper into how candidates are strategizing their campaigns based on these polling results. We'll also be analyzing how social media shapes public perception during this election cycle, and we'll explore what key issues are resonating most with voters across different demographics. What do you think about these polling trends? How is social media influencing your views? We want to hear your thoughts on these political developments. Share your insights in the comments below. How might this information shape your voting decisions? Let us know what aspects of the upcoming election you're most interested in. Your feedback helps us create content that matters to you. So, what's your take on the current political landscape?